Hey kids, you're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast. Prepare for the SML Podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. We have a big old party cast here tonight. Aki's here, Horror Acolyte is here, Bri is here, Chris is here, Pernell's here, Andy's here. How is everybody doing?
Good.
Pretty good. Adequate.
Great.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just eating a sandwich in the corner. Don't mind me.
I'm now
Yay.
excited to go to Bucky's when that opens, because Thumber just stated it was like D&D sessions. So
I'm
now I'm more excited to go visit Bucky's when it opens
The
next year.
niche thing, yeah.
Captain Bucky's
It is.
over here.
It's an experience at Bucky's. It really is.
it's too crowded for me.
Oh, I agree. It's pretty crowded,
What?
but it's still worth the experience. You got to go at different times. Like you can go late at night, and it's not too bad.
Nah, not in Texas.
Oh well,
3 a.m.
that's
It's going to be
Texas.
packed.
I've been to two different ones now, and one of them I stopped late at night, and it was just fine. Like after 10 p.m., it was totally fine.
Yeah, it's like it's a phenomenon in down here. So it's like no
It's
matter
like a
which one you
theme
go
park.
to. Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
It's the theme park of convenience stores, gas stations.
You don't want to go down the water slide though.
No.
The what? They have
You
a
know,
water slide?
I was just hoping you'd let me leave that hanging. No, of course they don't.
No,
Their
you
main
never
thing
know.
that they advertise is having clean bathrooms. 'Cause
Yes.
They'd be cleaning those all the time.
They are. They just sit on a rotation in a circle and they just clean the bathroom
The
constantly.
pee trough is a water slide.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's
it
a
is.
water
slide
feature.
down.
Yeah.
It can be.
I only ever that's what I meant, see those in bars around here. Do they do pee troughs in other types of establishments?
I don't know.
I'm asking.
I wouldn't know these things.
Like football games, I see them. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
I've never been to a football game, so that's
I'm going to
news
ask
me.
something that's going to be stupid. The only word that I associate with a trough is like feeding troughs for farm animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, it's just a big old, one giant open urinal that
Yeah.
everybody pees on. And it goes
But you
down
don't eat
one
anything
drain.
out of it.
Yeah, there's no food.
You can.
That sounds
the opposite.
horrific.
It
yeah,
is.
it kinda
That
is.
with
smells
ice or
really
something?
bad. Jesus.
It does. Yeah.
Ugh. And
But so do
Yay,
regular bathrooms
sports.
under the best of circumstances.
The pain we go through. It's generally
I'm-
like filled with ice or something, and one of those like sweet urine cakes.
Mm.
I'm so
dessert bin.
confused
Still
by this
delicious.
entire conversation.
Sweet, delicious urine cakes.
Yeah.
Mm.
The after-dinner mint.
Don't guys like pee
So,
with
Red
like,
ones are cinnamon.
a different stole in between them, and they don't stand next to each other or something?
Sometimes.
Yeah, it depends
How
on
can you all
the
just
bathroom.
piss into a trough when you're doing shit like that everywhere the fuck else? That doesn't compute.
There's nothing that has to do with like guys in the bathroom that computes. It's like there's so many different things where it's just like at home, like it's just the toilet. Like you just have a toilet. Like that should be it everywhere, but that's not how it goes. They're like, we need something that will accommodate 20 men
Yeah.
all at the same time.
Sports games, you need to get in and out as quick as you can. Keep that line moving.
Fair, I guess.
That's why dudes never wash their hands.
Yeah, that shit's gross. Wash your hands, people.
Never. You can. You're not my real dad.
Listen, son.
I'm going to break the mystique, folks. That's not just a guy thing. Lots of women don't wash
no,
their
I
fucking
know.
hands either. It's fucking gross.
I know. There are there are restrooms that serve both. Well, I should say all. And yeah, it's definitely something that is the truth. Also, I mean, if you get with the right person, everybody will rat on their gender all the time. So it's like there's not a whole lot of mysteries there.
Yeah. For any of our viewers who are under the delusion that women aren't disgusting creatures, we're gross. We're so gross.
Illusion. There's no illusion.
Good.
Now, something that's not gross and is also mysterious is that 7-Eleven just came out with a cheesy garlic bread potato chip, and it is real good.
It's a 7-Eleven branded chip.
Yeah, it's a 7-Eleven brand chip. It's called 7 Select. They have a whole bunch of flavors, but since I picked up an Italian sandwich, I was like, well, I'm going to get some garlic bread potato chips. Those ended up being the star of the show. I think they really nailed it.
Nice.
Did you see Lay's is doing that do me a flavor thing again, where they're bringing back like the chicken and waffles, they're bringing back the cheesy garlic bread, the taco one, like 2 other ones, they're bringing them all back, and they're going to take entries for another new flavor. So,
what was your favorite?
I don't remember because I have shit memory, so I'm going to try them all over again, and they'll be like brand new to me.
I have pretty good. I have pretty good snack memory, nostalgia, if you will.
Nostalgia.
I seem to remember the chicken and waffles being my favorite.
Yeah, that one was good.
I'm not a big potato chip person, so
Yeah, no. Same.
Maybe that's what it is that I'm normally not either. But so it's like if I run into one that's like especially good, then I'm like, I'm taking note of this.
yeah, that makes sense.
I like tortilla chips, and that's about it.
What kind of chips?
Tortilla chips.
Oh, those are good.
That's about the only type of chip I ever eat.
I mean, when you live in the land of salsa, it's like you gotta build up some brand loyalty for tortilla chips.
Now, the other 2 they're bringing back are fried green tomato and southern biscuits and gravy. I like the biscuits and gravy one. I thought those were
good. Yeah, Catherine just picked up some biscuits and gravy ones actually the other day, and I tried one, and it doesn't quite hit, but it's pretty good. It's not one of those.
Go buy some Lay's.
Yeah.
This episode's sponsored by chips and salsa
and urinal cakes.
And urinal
Lay's.
If fucking only.
Lay's brand urinal cakes. Buy them today, kids.
That could be
They're
the new flavor.
crispiest.
Oof.
Delicious. It's salty and sweet.
And for legal reasons, we have to tell you, please do not eat urinal cakes, folks. They are not... I don't think they're edible.
I don't think so. But, I mean, you could try if you want.
No, for legal reasons.
Live your life, kids.
Do not
Follow
eat
your dreams.
urinal cakes.
Children, go eat.
They have a warning label about consumption on them, but
For legal reasons, those were jokes. Do not eat them.
It's okay. No one listens to this.
One person does.
Who?
I don't know their name, but at least one person.
Yeah, that's true.
I almost always have the chat up.
Amazingly, I just checked our 1000th episode on YouTube, and it's like over 150 views.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's insane for us. Like, we usually get like 30 on a good episode.
Yeah.
Our MP3 numbers are much better, but the YouTube numbers usually suck. But yeah,
I've been listening to it over and over again.
You should for the music at the end.
I'm that 150.
Nice. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
We had a whole lot of people there for the show as well. There was, I think, like 40 something people there that night. That was good.
Yeah.
I saw it top out at 50.
Better.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. I don't know if it got higher than that or not, but I saw it at 50.
Yeah, the highest I saw.
It was good to see people there.
So, yeah.
I think a lot of people there were for free games, but
And that one person who brought like 20 something people with the raid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those always
most
help.
of them, I think, just stayed.
Well, it's good to have people around. I love having people watch. I love having people hang out. I'm sure we'll have another giveaway going later on in the show. Keep hanging out in the chat, kids. If you don't hang out with us on Twitch, you should. We record Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Hang out with us. We hang out with chat. We do some music. Bullshit.
I insult Jacob a lot.
Oh, God, so much. The amount of bitching between those two that doesn't make it on the show is astronomical.
You cut that shit out? Why?
Bri can back that up.
I mean, yeah.
Hey, she helps me sometimes.
There have been a few times.
Yeah.
She doesn't
It's
help
only
Jacob,
fair.
so I'm clearly
Why
the
would you?
favorite.
Is there anything anyone wants to talk about tonight?
I got new gunpla in.
Oh my!
Games.
I accidentally
Shocker.
unmuted the. I unmuted the podcast or I unmuted the Twitch channel. So I was like, "Is there anything anybody wants to talk about tonight? Is there anything anybody wants to talk about tonight?" I was like, "No."
Hmm.
You guys been watching any scary movies lately?
Nah.
Yes, actually, a lot.
I like to watch the opposite of scary movies. That is to say, play non-scary video games.
I've been watching slasher and horror flicks with a couple friends of mine because one of them, their mom is like a big horror fan, and has like a ton of movies and Blu-rays and shit of all this stuff. And they've never actually sat and watched any of them, so we're forcing them basically to watch a ton of horror films, and we just finished the original 6 movies of Nightmare on Elm Street. And the
Nice.
6th one was so fucking god-awful.
Oh, I know.
I
that
would buy
is-
a ton of movies and just not watch them and leave them sit on the shelf forever and eternity.
I
Who would not
didn't
consume
do
the
that
media
with all the
that
movies that I bought off of you. I totally haven't done that.
I was gonna say, who would possibly amass a mountain of media that they don't immediately consume?
Man, I can't think of anyone like that.
Yeah, no, totally. No.
Luckily, we're all gamers. We don't have that kind of problem.
No, not at all.
Exactly. Exactly. My almost 2,000 game large backlog isn't me not consuming media. It's me just taking it slow.
Yeah.
I did not travel 900 miles with 2 separate video game systems and a laptop just in case.
Yeah, no, I have my analog pocket, my second one that I purchased, in a little pouch that's in a satchel that I just throw on just throw the strap on it like anytime I'm about to go out. I'm like, if I'm going to be in a line, this thing is coming out. We're going to play Game Boy.
Ah, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, Analog Pocket's just a fancy Game Boy, but it lets you load ROMs off of a SD card as well, so you can have like
nice
tens of thousands of games at your disposal.
Very nice.
All legitimately owned, of course.
Well, I mean,
so what Pokemon game is it that you constantly play?
I don't play Pokemon. I'm not really a Pokemon guy. The last time I played a Pokemon game is I started a game on the earliest days of me being on Twitch as a streamer. I've been on Twitch since it was Justin TV back in 2010, but when I started as a streamer, it was 2016, and I was just emulating stuff off a laptop that was a hand-me-down from a 13-year-old. Her mom was a friend of mine and just gave me the laptop because she had moved on to bigger and better things. So it had this flowery sticker on it and stuff, which it still does to this day. But yeah,
you
it's just
still fucking have it?
Yeah, you don't get rid of a laptop. You throw them in a box when you're done with it and just let it rot. Anyway,
can confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just. So yeah, I was just kind of playing whatever on the emulator, and one time I decided to start a game of Pokemon Blue, and I got as far as letting somebody show me how to get Mew as a cheat, not a cheat, but like a glitch, because there actually is a get Mew in the game glitch that I'm sure everybody knows about. And I did that, and then that was the last time I played. I just kind of put it. I was like, well, I got Mew, and I don't really need to finish this. So
I didn't know Mew was actually in it. I thought all those were just.
You could only originally
stories.
only get Mew through linking, and through like other there's like a special download, I guess, or something that you could have done, or something like that. There's like it's in the data because it was accessible through a certain thing that's no longer available. I want to say it's through trading, or something. I don't know. Again, I'm not a Pokemon guy, but there is a way to glitch it into your party, and then it just fully works. And so that's what I did.
You just love doing glitches in games, don't you?
I mean, in this
like
case,
the Final Fantasy VI glitch you did.
Oh man, I love Final. They have upped the game on those Final Fantasy VI glitches, and they've also included like the pixel remaster glitches too. So like, there's even more stuff you can do. Now you can just put Kefka in your party.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a great video out there on YouTube. This lady that really breaks it down like every step, and it's so convoluted that even I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. Plus, it requires having the PC version of it instead of the console version that I have. Instead,
Steam.
Yeah, instead I'm just like, well, actually, I have Final Fantasy VI on Steam now that I think about it, but I'm still
go get Kefka.
Yeah, maybe.
New stream idea. There you go.
Believe it or not, he kind of sucks. He's
Level him up.
He's capped at 10 HP. He will die in a single hit, and you can't equip him with anything. Yeah, it's a glitch. He's not a full character. He's just in your party. Yeah.
Easy JT saying Chrono Trigger's OP. Hell yeah.
Hey, Chrono Trigger's pretty cool. I'd like to see that on Switch.
That needs to get re-released so bad. What is the holdup with that one?
I want to say it's going to be Switch too. Because
we don't need a remake, just fucking re-release the game.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're gonna be doing something with it that's like special. Because anytime they hold on to a game like this instead of just throwing it out there, it's led to things like that. The only one who's on the ball with that is Dragon Quest, because they released the awful mobile games, just a la carte, and then now they're doing the 3D 2D remakes. And they're like, yeah, you could just have both of them. We don't care. We know our fans. They're going to buy it all. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, and my East 10 Nordics got shipped to the wrong address, so I'm going to have to, try and track that thing down now.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I couldn't change it in time because I forgot about, that particular... Because I had pre-ordered it on Amazon, which was fine, and then along with Oath and Felghana, but then I was like, oh, actually NIS themselves have a much better pre-order, so I canceled the pre-order on Amazon and went with NIS, and then forgot I went with NIS, and so I didn't change my address after I moved.
Oh, geez.
And then by the time I thought about it, because I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, East Nordics is coming out pretty soon, and so I looked at my order and I was like, crap, this is going to the wrong address. And I emailed them and they're like, well, we'll see what we can do. And of course it shipped. So.
Can you get in touch with the people at your old address?
No, but I can just go there. As I can, I still have a key to that mailbox. I don't think that they've rented it back out yet.
Oh, well, that's good at least.
Yeah, it's way too expensive to live there, so, they can't find suckers that quickly.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
So, yeah, anything anyone else want to talk about? How was everyone's week? Anybody do anything special besides celebrate 1,000th episode?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been doing a lot of cooking, which is really nice. Having good ingredients to cook with is also extra nice. My mom eats good, so I'm enjoying that aspect of being up here.
Nice.
I made fajitas tonight. Last night I made salmon with Swiss chard and a big salad. There was maple syrup on the salmon because when in the Northeast you should have maple syrup on everything apparently.
Did the fajitas have maple syrup on them then?
No.
Okay, good. I was gonna get mad if they did.
Yeah. I made I make a tortellini soup with curry and coconut milk and basil and rotel, like tomatoes and chilies. It's really good. A little cheese on top.
Nice.
That sounds super delicious.
Yeah, it is.
Now I'm hungry again.
I'm good for that.
You can have some of my garlic bread chips.
You're eating chips, no thanks.
Pernell, do anything fun this weekend?
This weekend, I'm not even sure what I did this weekend, to be honest with you. My memory is so janky.
I feel you there, man.
I know I was prepping for this week, so that factored into the weekend. Oh, a buddy of mine visited. We played games here locally, which is a rarity. We don't get to do that often. Oh, and my brother and my nephew came over on Sunday. I had them over, and we played Mario Party Jamboree. First time I played Mario Party with other humans in like 10 years, so that felt nice.
Was that the new one?
Yeah, I own every Mario Party game, despite never being able to play them with humans. So
no, you can play with me. I like Mario Party, even though I don't ever really play it. Means I'm a perfect victim.
This one's technically online, so that is doable.
I mean, I'm cool with it.
And we did like a we did like a board game meetup on Sunday. A friend of mine, we started it a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "Hey, this is a campaign. You think you're free next week?" I was like, "I think I can squeeze it in. Let's do that." So we did that. And then I tried to do retro art gaming over Steam Deck with another friend of mine in California for 2 hours, but we were having issues configuring it to do hot swapping with one controller over the internet. So unfortunately, I didn't play out, but it was still cool just to hang out for a little while. And that was all on Sunday. Sunday was a long day, a fun day. And then Saturday is the one that just doesn't seem to want to come to mind. Like, what did I do? Oh, I know I went to... That's what it was. Some friends had a board gaming event that they were hosting up in Exton, where they are trying to drum up interest in having like unpublished gaming done at a brewery. So I went up there to support their event, and that was a good time. We got to hang out for a bit, play some Wavelength at the bar, along with a couple of their unpublished games, and just overall had a good time. And then I bought some stuff at Gameskeep before going home, and then just kind of looped around the house that evening. Didn't make a big deal out of it. So. What do you know? I did remember my weekend. Just kind of came in spurts.
Had to jostle it loose.
Yeah, you did. It was a
jiggle the handle; it'll come out.
Yeah.
So no, I'd say it was a good weekend. And then
it's day 2 of training at Buc-ee's.
Nice.
So then, now I got to deal with the rest of this week, which will be a good week. I'm trying to use it as a celebratory week. And today I went to a nice conference, which for the first time, an actual industry conference. Never did one of those before, but I'm in it. Yeah, the imposter syndrome is working. So I did that. And tomorrow.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you didn't know anything. It's cool.
No. I was just about to fully interrupt you, and I didn't even mean to.
It's okay. I know tomorrow's my birthday, so I'm going out for breakfast then.
Oh yeah! Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, bro!
For now.
Happy birthday! It's also my mom's birthday tomorrow. It's a good day to have a birthday.
Happy birthday!
It really is.
Happy birthday to your birthday, mom.
Happy birthday
old
to
people
your mom,
days.
Hey, hush! You're older than me, probably. I don't know how. I don't know. Actually, I think you're younger than me. Who am I kidding? I'm older than old. But all in all, it's a good time. It'll be a good time. I'm not used to celebrating my birthday, but I'm making a conscious effort to actually actively pursue celebration this year. So far, so good.
You should.
It's nice to celebrate.
It feels different. I can appreciate it.
Says the guy who did absolutely nothing for his birthday.
Okay, you can be. I know you're a generally busy guy. Doing nothing is celebrating. Damn it.
Yeah, it's true. I didn't go to work, and that was good enough.
Right there it is. See, there it is.
And now I'm collecting. Now I'm collecting Nintendo points. I got me a
physical
hat.
Games.
Huh?
From physical games or
no. The platinum points. The platinum points. They're finally stepping up and giving you physical things for the platinum points. I just got me an NES World Championship and NES Edition hat.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah, and now I'm going to go for that Princess Zelda tote bag. But I
think I'm out of platinum points. I think I used all mine up.
I've got 890 right now, so 890 is pretty good.
What do you get those for? Digital purchases?
It's not even. They just make you run through little hamster wheels of doing like little tasks and stuff. If you go to the red icon on your Switch, where it says Nintendo Switch Online, and then like run over to like missions and rewards. If you have a My Nintendo account, which you should, but yeah, you go to missions and rewards, and you get platinum points for just doing little things that they want you to do. And sometimes it's just like like this month or this week. I don't remember, but anyway, right now, yeah, I think it's weekly. Right now it's F099. You just have to like finish a race. Doesn't matter what place or anything, just cross the finish line. And then they want you to play Kirby Superstar on the SNES online. And there's one for backing up save data, but I don't know how to actually do that. Mine is all backed up, so it's like when I like pulled up my data, it was like everything was backed up, and I didn't know what function they wanted me to do to, get the points. And
I'm gonna look into that because I haven't messed with any of that stuff in a while. I wonder how many points I could get.
Yeah. The other thing is if you go to your browser and go to mynintendo.com, you get points just for logging in. I think once a day. Let me see if I get points today. I didn't get them today, so I guess it's weekly. But yeah, you can earn points online too. They are usually just things like go to the website and click on certain things and stuff like that. It's just like it doesn't really. That is not nearly as fun as on the actual system. But yeah, if you get those platinum points, you can actually get some stuff that's not just digital.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
we got some games to talk about tonight. Should we dive into these? We got a handful of titles to discuss. Aki, you're first. Are you sure?
Yeah, let's just skip that for the day. I think we can do it some other day. Let's just screw around more.
About what? What do you want to talk about?
That you can't. No, that's not fair. You're supposed to ask them, not me. What the hell?
What do you want to talk about? You want to delay things. What do you want to talk about?
That's not fair. That's mean. Don't be mean to me. Free help.
Bri, what do you want to talk
about? Cats.
Yes, that will.
That's later in the show.
That's okay. Mice. I've been catching mice here.
Oh,
my mother has mice in the house.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been having to set out traps. Yeah, it's we've been having to set out traps and dispose of them.
You should just get a big cage, and every time you catch them, just add them into the cage, and then take all of them out into the middle of the forest later on. Until then, you just have some pet mices. It's great.
Yeah.
I miss having pet mice. They're adorable.
If you get rid of all the mice in the house, would that make it a quiet place?
Oh, good segue.
I know.
The meow it, please.
Fine, we can talk about the game.
Let's get to reviews. We have a handful to talk about tonight. First game is A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead, developed by Stormind Games, published by Saber Interactive, released October 17th, Series X and S, PS5, and PC for $29.99. A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead is a single-player horror adventure game inspired by the blockbuster movie franchise that highlights a unique survivor story after an invasion of deadly creatures. In this exclusive spin-off, experience the journey of a young woman who must endure a treacherous apocalypse in the midst of an interpersonal family conflict, all while coming to terms with her own inner fears. Aki, what is going on in A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead?
Okay. In this, you play as a young woman who has asthma and panics very easily, which causes her to, have asthma attacks. Woohoo! And this is set about half a year after the invasions from the Quiet Place alien thingies, whatever they're called. I've never actually watched the show.
The movie.
Isn't it? Movie. I have no idea.
There's multiple movies at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I've never watched any of them. So all I know is they react very violently towards sound unless you get some really bad reverb. And that's the extent of my knowledge of the series, folks. So, but the game looked cool, so I went for it. So yeah, you play as this young woman, and turns out you might be a little bit sort of kind of pregnant, and yeah. That's a no bueno. Because one, you have asthma, and you already have enough trouble, carrying your skinny ass everywhere, and now you're pregnant, and that does continue along as time flows through the game. So that's not a problem at all. And giving birth totally won't be a problem in a world where you can't make noise or you die. Nor is having a baby that won't shut the fuck up. So, great things. So you are trying to find a way to eke out a new existence, because the place where you're currently living is falling to shit. Because the person in charge just isn't good. So you're escaping, and you're trying to get resources and stuff together so you can make your own place where you can, hopefully give birth and raise a kid and stuff, because it's extremely dangerous. And throughout this, you're basically going from section to section, and you're trying to hide from these monsters, because they're all over the damn place, because they've decided that they won't just fuck off somewhere else. So, there's always one right all up on your ass. And you have to be super stealthy, because any slight noise above just the environmental noise around you will cause it to come and attack you. So that's great fun. You can move slowly, both standing and crouched, as well as quicken both of those. And each one creates a different amount of noise, and it also is impacted by what kind of ground you're walking on. So if you're walking on boards, it makes more sound than if you're walking through sand, which is apparently a thing from the movies. So that's cool. They also have walking through glass causes more noise. Leaves causes noise. Walking through grass can cause more noise because of the crunching of the grass. Walking through water creates a ton of noise. Never go near water. Water is evil. I don't care if you're thirsty. Don't go near water. That's all I have to tell you about this game. Water's fucking evil. Stay the hell away. And yeah, that's literally the entire point of this game, is to get out of different areas while trying to avoid notice of these monsters. So it's a full-on stealth game the whole time. You just don't have to care if things see you, because these creatures are blind as bat. Blinder than a bat, likely, actually. So that's great! So you can stand right in front of it and panic, and as long as you don't make noise, it might walk past you, or it might walk right into you and then kill the shit out of you. You never know with this game. Not that that's happened to me 3 or 4 times. No, never. Because that would mean I'd be bad at this game. But yeah, you do a lot of puzzle stuff in this. You get some new abilities, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's not like you're upgrading or anything throughout the game. You just start to use your brain more and more as the game continues. So I guess you've finally developed a clue, and you keep getting more. So, for instance, you can start picking up bricks partway through the game and throwing those to create noise elsewhere, grabbing bottles and flinging those to break them to distract the creature, so you can get by where it's basically guarding for some reason, even though it doesn't make sense for it to just stand there forever or walk back to that place. But, hey, whatever. It's all a puzzle game about how to get past all of these creatures and get whatever you need to get to the next area, basically. Like one level requires you to grab a board, a really long 2x4, basically, to set down so you can walk across a big gap that leads into a giant ravine that if you fall into, you would die. So,
Yay.
Yeah. So you have to go
like
and
an insta-death thing?
Yes. Yes, it would be. Yeah. I don't think you can actually fall into it. So I didn't attempt to. It's just like there isn't really a jump button, so you can't even attempt to jump across. I don't think you can just walk off either. So no worries about that. But you basically have to kite this monster around so you can get to this board, pick it up. It's heavy, so it's already stressing your asthma, which goes real damn quick. I do not like how fast that just whittles down. And then you have to carry it to the hole, all while continuing to lead this creature off somewhere else so you can get where you need to go without it, hearing you or bumping into you, basically, so you can get the fuck out of there before it decides to go berserk and chow down on everything, I guess. And yeah, you don't seem to be able to actually kill any of these things, or at least I haven't seen the ability to do so yet. You do have some accessibility features. There's an ability to, if you're playing it on the lowest difficulty, because there's 3 difficulties, you can turn on a focus meter, and one of the accessibility features allows you to just enter that as long as you want. It seems like it is otherwise timed for a very short period of time. You can go into it, and it basically allows you to know where the monster is even through stuff. It just outlines it for a while, even when it's behind walls and stuff.
So wall hacks. Cheat.
Yeah, basically, for a short period of time.
Elite hacker.
Totally. And stuff like that. There's sadly not a whole bunch of options, but that one was pretty cool. There's, the usual, changing the colors of things for people who have color blindness and subtitles, and increasing the HUD size of things, stuff like that. Usual standard stuff. That was the big one that changed up gameplay a little bit to me, because I did flip that on. I haven't really needed it too often, but when you do need it, it's pretty damn clutch.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it sounds like you kind of enjoyed this one. I'm having a hard time reading your thoughts on this one. It's $30. Give us your opinion. I
really liked this one. It's kind of complicated because there's some very anti-stealth achievements to this game. They're in multiple levels. There are time limit chunks to levels that require you to move real quickly, which goes against everything that is this game in every conceivable way, and I don't like those. And there's a bunch of levels that have 1 or 2 of them, which suck. But otherwise, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with this. I really like how the character remembers their loved ones, talks about loved ones, how they just mindlessly talk every now and then just about what they see around them. I really enjoy this character, so I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I think it's really good stealth. My biggest issue is if you're not a stealth gamer, you're not going to have a good time with this, because the beast, if it's in a level, it doesn't matter if you see it. If it hears you, it's going to come and get you. It don't care. And it's not slow either. This thing is a fast little bastard. So if you're not good at stealth, this isn't going to be a fun game for you, I don't think. But for everyone who does like stealth games, I think this is totally 100% to buy it. I've absolutely loved my time with this. I think this might be my favorite game this whole week.
Ooh, nice. All right, well, next game is Card-en-Ciel, developed and published by INTI, released October 24th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $24.99. Card-en-Ciel is a roguelike card battling RPG featuring over 300 different cards and 50 unique vocal songs. Play as Neon, the gaming chair detective famous for solving net crimes, as he encounters a strange new case when he dives into an in-development game world. Pernell, what is going on in Card-en-Ciel?
Contrary to what you may have heard when that title was pronounced, this game does not involve shoving cars into adorable sea mammals. But what it does involve is a pretty interesting and clever spin on the grid battle concept that INTI decided to come up with. Now, at first glance, you might look at this game and think, oh, wow, someone's doing Battle Network again. And I would like to mention right off the cuff, do not go in thinking that way because you might set yourself up for disappointment. However, once you resolve that matter and you decide to play the game despite this not being a retread of Battle Network, what you'll come across is a pretty cool design battle combat system with tactical movement, with a lot of quote unquote waifu content if you're into that sort of thing. And if you're not,
waifus?
Yeah, there's a good chunk of that going on.
Of course, you get Aki's attention with that one.
Yeah, figured you don't need to listen to the rest of the review, Aki. Just buy the game and have a girl sitting on the couch constantly going, I can't wait to learn more about you. But but once you're like, again, I don't really care about that aspect of it, but the gameplay is honestly pretty cool. So the premise is you're playing as a guy by the name of Neon, who is, I think you said it earlier, is the armchair detective or whatnot. And he specializes in solving crimes that exist within the virtual game world. He is brought on early on by another character who requests his help by way of email to help her solve a pretty bizarre case in which characters from different games are crossing over into each other and sort of corrupting them, bringing errors along the way, and just kind of making the virtual world a pretty mucky place. Also need to lead with the fact that this game's narrative is kind of bonkers and that the virtual world kind of overlaps sort of like a much more grand second life to the whole human world or the real world. So people kind of live there. So there's a whole crimes jurisdiction thing, whatever. So your main character is going into these game worlds and doing battle with characters within the game worlds with the hopes of locating corrupted data that's usually held by one of the game's main characters or like a protagonist or villain or whatnot, and then purifying said world. I'm done talking about the story now because it annoys me to even discuss it. But the gameplay is solid. So you end up diving into different dungeons. The dungeons are admittedly nothing more than grids connected by, or like squares, like even like 4x4 or 10x10 grid squares connected by pathways. But when you go into each of these pathways, like squares, you'll come across monsters that are walking around and pacing and such. Sometimes you'll also find items and stuff, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, but generally you'll find monsters. And if you engage them in combat, you're immediately going to be faced with opponents. You're on one side of a 3x3 grid, and then the opponents are on the other side of a 3x3 on their 3x3 grid. And initially, you'll see yourself holding 5 cards. These cards are dual purpose. They can be used both to use attacks, and when you use the attacks, you'll do a certain amount of damage, or whether it be physical damage that will harm an enemy, or break damage. Break damage is applied to 2 things on an opponent. Their shield, which if you can bring that shield down to 0, you will make them cancel their turn, and any attack cards will do double damage. If you have not applied this, you will just do normal damage with your attack cards. In addition to that, when you do break damage, you'll reduce the amount of damage their attacks will do on you that turn. So generally, it's a good idea to toss break damage to your opponents. In addition to that, those cards will use like actual like cost currency to spend. They can range from any number from like 0 to like 3 or 4 or whatever. However, if you decide that you would rather not use them for that purpose, you can also use the cards to move around the board because this is not a real-time game. It is a turn-based game. Each card has its own direction that it will move you in, and it's usually one step in that direction. It doesn't cost you any cost currency, but it does advance the clock. Why does that matter? Because sometimes or many times enemies will just attack you at the end of the turn. But much of the time, they will also have a clock on their actual image. And if for every action you take, whether it be a card play or a movement play, that clock will tick down. Once the clock hits 0, the enemy will immediately attack you. It's choreographed, though. You can see the actual space that they will attack, or spaces they will attack, or if they're going to apply an effect to your character, you can see that too by scrolling and highlighting them. So everything is tactical in the sense that you know what's going to happen. You just need to determine how you're going to evade or prevent as much damage as possible from coming your way. There's also action cards where, in addition to just doing damage, you can also trigger them on the turn the enemy's going to do their timed attack. And you will get a quick time event. It's the same kind where it's like an orbital circle, the enemy, and when it gets centers in on them, you hit the A button, and you'll do your attack, but also evade their attack. So it's good to kind of have those available with the appropriate cost associated to dodge attacks if you have damage imminent and approaching you. Now, if this was all the game had to it, it would be a pretty simple game just for the combat alone. But, oh God, no. It's nuts. It brought back nightmares of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the sense that there are so many different card effects that can come into play on these cards, whether it's a banish, an enhance, a setup, God, I don't even want to think about it. Break enhancements, amps. Amps being abilities that are triggered only when you use the card to move and not to attack. There's a lot that's going on, and you have to decide as you're playing through the game. When you defeat an enemy, or win a battle rather, you'll be able to choose a card to add to your hand, which will then give you more flexibility in combat. If you find items on the board, sometimes you can get new cards that way. If you stumble across random events, you can sometimes get cards that way. You can also enhance cards to add what's called cheat codes to them, which will give them additional effects, which is just that much more enhancements to the game. Once you win in an actual square, remember I mentioned the square is connected by straight lines. If you manage to win and clear out an entire space of enemies, you will get a choice of 3 things. Whether you can use it to recover, being heal all your health back. You can also use it to position a card, where you can leave a card in that space, which will enhance spaces one away from the square that you place it in. So it gives you like beneficial, like passive perks. Or you can use that space to do one of the enhancements that I mentioned before. You can use it to kind of give them additional cheat code effects. There's a lot more to talk about. I'm not going to go into a ton of it because we'll be here all freaking day. But another major aspect of this game, especially when you factor in the mentioning of all the voice sample work and stuff, is the Muse system. Because similar to how, what's that game? I know something Gunvolt. I can't remember what the first part of it is, but Gunvolt, which is kind of sad because I own all of them and I can't remember the freaking first 2 words.
Azure,
but anyway,
something Azure
Striker Gunvolt. Thank you,
Yeah.
Frank. There we go.
I forgot the middle word too. I was like, I know Azure is one of them.
I couldn't remember Azure to connect the Striker. God, Jesus. Well, like just like with those games, they brought over the Muse system that game came up with for that game. Musing are singers that by singing to the main character, they will imbue them with special powers. In this game, it works in a similar way, except there are a ton of them, and the way you trigger them, like they're not a card that you actually play. Instead, once you have a Muse backing you up, they have a special a special condition that is required to be fulfilled in order for them to come out. I'll be blunt, I almost never try to get that condition to happen. I just play the damn game and like, whoops, Muse is out. That's awesome. But once the Muse comes out, they immediately start singing. The game plays the music as they are singing, so it's kind of a nice little added benefit there. And they will immediately apply a passive effect to you throughout the remainder of your battle. It's funny because you can have multiple muses activated at the same time. Only one will be singing unless I didn't notice them somehow doing duets or whatever. But one of them will be singing, but there'll be multiple ones on the board, and all of their effects will continue to run. Enemies can also have muse effects running because if there's a muse on the board, adjacent on a square adjacent to where they are, the muses singing will enhance their turns. So you might want to find one, run around the board to find that muse and beat the stuffing out of it so that the opponent can't get the benefits from that muse anymore. Also, if I remember correctly, that's also one of the ways you can find muses in a dungeon too. If you beat the muse up, you can generally tame them and get them for yourself. If you beat the boss on a floor, you'll be able to proceed further down into the dungeon until you find the final boss. And it's an interesting aspect of this game because it actually does not incentivize you to fight every enemy and get every card and blah, blah, blah. One, because this is a roguelike and you do not carry the cards with you from dungeon to dungeon. The counterbalance to that is that there is something called a wild card system where you can carry some into the dungeon with you, but you do not get to take them out with you when you're done a dungeon. So that's one reason why they don't incentivize you to fight a ton of battles. The other reason, however, is because the reward you get for completing the dungeon, including the rank itself, is largely dependent on a number of factors, including how few turns you take throughout the entirety of the dungeon itself. So the less battle turns you take, the better your score will be when you complete the dungeon. So it's almost like a risk reward against blitzing the dungeon to fight the boss with as little buffing as possible, while also fighting enough battles to boost your hand so that you can beat the boss with a decent hand, because your starting hand usually kind of sucks. So I will say early on in the game that they do play a bit lenient on you. Like, you'd have to pretty much go out of your way to screw up on some of the earlier battles, but I appreciate that because it does get hard when it wants to. And they do let you unlock higher difficulties on the dungeon so you can go back and have harsher conditions at work to get better rewards from doing the battles. When you're done a dungeon, you do go back to a main little hub room where the joke I mentioned to Aki earlier came into play, where your supporting character's constantly talking to you about junk you don't care about because it's not related to anything. She'll just say things like, I wish I could learn more about you. What do you think about me? I'm like, you just hired me for a job. How are you talking to me like this? I mean, you're my client. I don't know what you're doing here, girl. But hey, whatever. White people want a waifu, got a waifu. I don't fucking know. But despite the fact that I don't give two hoots about that concept, and the fact that I genuinely wish that the levels themselves had more variations into their actual layouts, whether it be graphically or physically laid out, I cannot deny the fact that the actual gameplay in this game is legitimately solid. I didn't even go into the idea of like spending currency earned from dungeon runs to enhance your character to get different effects while you're running through dungeons, but there's a lot that's going on in this game. It's legitimately fun. And even though, again, I came into this wanting another game like Battle Network, what I got was a game that is not like Battle Network, but it's its own wonderful and surprisingly complex beast. Not too complex that you can't enjoy it, but complex enough that it's not a sleeper game. You're going to actually focus and try to play it well. And if you do wish you had a Battle Network-esque game, One Step from Eden and Duelists of Eden are still out there, so you can go find and play those, which are also great games. So what a shock. So I think I'm done talking about this game, so let's do the do.
All right, it's $25. Give us your verdict.
It's an easy buy it recommendation. Highly recommend it, but again, just need to mention, don't come in here expecting real-time active combat Battle Network. You're not going to get that. But you are going to get a great game that I can highly recommend you picking.
Question for you.
25.
How many waifus are there?
Too goddamn many. There's at least, I think they said 50 muses, and unless I missed a few, pretty much every muse is a woman. Your main character support is a rather busty one. And
yeah, the commercials only showed the Mrs. Busty, so I wasn't sure if there were more waifus or it was just one.
Busty LaRue. And then there's also just other cards, which I also forgot to mention. A lot of the characters, in addition to the made-up video game characters that are in the game, many of them are also characters from NT Creates games, both currently out and games that have yet to be released. Unless you bought this game as a pre-order from Steam, in which case you get FemFreak with the game, apparently. So hopefully we can get a review code for FemFreak, because I want to play that too.
All right, any other comments on the game?
Nope.
Waifu.
All right, next up, Rogue Flight, developed by Truant Pixel, published by Perp Games, released October 25th on Xbox Series X and S, Switch, PS5, and PC for $19.99. Rogue Flight is a breathtaking arcade space combat game inspired by the landmark style of the 80s and 90s prestige anime. Jump into true stylish arcade action with a huge host of spacecraft upgrades, game modes, and multiple narrative paths. Andy, tell us about your time with Rogue Flight.
Let me tell you about the story first. That's cool. So in Rogue Flight, it's been 3 years since the world burned as part of the Solar Defense Force Expansion Initiative. The AI system Argus, which originally was used to help out humanity, was given oversight to include policing and solar defense. which unexpectedly, gained sentience and started and finished a 3-day war against humanity. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
We didn't see that one coming.
Oh yeah.
Oh god. So this 3-day war drove what was left of humanity basically to find refuge underground. So while living underground, though, they do discover a top secret research facility, lucky them, which was centered around developing a light fighter capable of sublight spaceflight. Very, very convenient. So this leads to their discovery of the Arrow, which is a spacecraft that is then used by Nadia. I think her last name is Sawas. Nadia Sawas. Who was a payload pilot. Who is now turned last hope for humanity. And they basically say to the quote unquote best of what was left. So, but she, along with the help of,
that's our show. That should be the motto.
we're the best
of what's left.
If we were a podcast at the end of the world, we would be the best of what's left. So that's where we get our one listener. But her, along with the help of Commander Griffin Dawes, who is a retired solar defense commander, and Mason Soul, a scientist, basically a space scientist, Nadia takes the skies in hopes of ending the reign of Argus and give hope back to humanity. So the game basically takes you through a nice refresher course when you start out. You got to start a new game every time you're going through, and I'll tell you why here in a second. But basically a new game with a tutorial for those coming back, or the people experiencing their first on-rail shooter game. Controls feel really smooth, and it's pretty easy to like pick up, how you play the game. They do a really good job of not throwing too much at you. Cell shaded characters are also fully voiced in a box to the corner most of the time, or in cutscenes as well, that kind of fill in gaps of the story and guide you along. The game really has some amazing voice acting. I don't know if you saw, but it's got some veterans from Fallout 76, Overwatch, League of Legends, a couple Marvel games, a few other things. And not to mention some incredible artwork in this kind of 80s, 90s analog video style. It's like a cell-shaded anime. They even include the kind of tracking lines from VHS tapes too. So that was pretty neat. But the details and characters and levels really shine through. But to me, the level designs felt a little lacking. And I hate to like compare these types of games to other games. Like each level felt really unique.
Unique.
By the way, I had my microphone unmuted for Joe's introduction because I was just anticipating a unique so I could hop on top of it and not have to unmute like I did the last two times. And this time they had nothing. So disappointed.
Yeah.
Dang. I think that's my last unique in this one too. So
unique.
Sorry. Unique.
It's okay.
But anyway, so the levels felt good, but they even like change slightly based on like different gameplays. There's like debris filled atmospheres with like things flying past you, or like spaceships like flying up and away from you. Or like lava fields or caves, or like one you're in kind of like this big space. I don't know what you would call it. It's basically like the mothership of Argus. So, but it just, I don't know. Like I said, I hate to like compare them, but it felt like it maybe went on a little longer. Like levels felt like they go on a little bit longer than they should have. Like in the tunnel level, just felt like you're in an endless tunnel forever. Maybe like some twists and turns would have been nice to kind of break things up a little bit, but that's, I don't know, that's a small thing to complain about, I guess. That's just me. But anyway, the Arrow is designed with a few features, missiles, blaster weapons. Some of these can be later changed for like some solid laser beams or wave blasters. There's a ton of weapons in this game too. You kind of change things out. Adjustments to the ship can increase shields, speed, maneuverability too. There's also a few customizable options to the ship as well, like colors and call signs and things like that. but yeah, in the main like tutorial, the first jumping into the game, you're really given the opportunity to experience how the ship mechanics work. So they do a really good job. Like I said, not throwing too much at you. The arrow is also equipped with a wingtail attack that generates a shockwave, which is really cool. I haven't seen one of these things in this style game before. That is capable of damaging like a wave of enemies. It's also got the classic parry style barrel roll system, similar to that in like Star Fox or any of the other ones. And what I thought was a little interesting to throw on there too, like a vortex maneuver where you basically like slows down the ship and then draws in floating items. So if you're about to miss a stack of missiles or even shield, you slow down, and so it kind of draws it closer to you. Blasting enemies create a point system that can regenerate shield. That just kind of turned into how many enemies could I blast, in a row. They kind of give you a timeline before it goes away again, And I think the most I got was like 100 something, which I thought was awesome. I was really into that. So that was kind of cool. And then enemies also drop, basically just like shield capsules or missiles. Occasionally a new weapon will pop up, while you're in a level. But that's like kind of rare. Alongside your ship, one more thing. Also on your ship, you'll get these little like autonomous like satellite drones. The first thing I thought of was like Gradius when you get those extra little ships to shoot alongside you. So it's like having
options.
Options. Are they called options? I don't know that.
Yeah. I'm just saying it in Mario's voice because this is Mario Kart 64.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So it's like they're like little mini fighter pilots. So you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So I mean, the main goal is to take out Argus, but like along the way, obviously you're gonna go through and take out these large like spacecraft drones. A lot of them were once used by the SDF. But they're now taken over and relocated by the Argus system. So they're equipped with plenty of firepower and are generally the end level bosses to each run. So the battles consist of destroying multiple target locations while also surviving plenty of attacks from the ship itself and enemy spawns that are coming at you too. There's 3 different paths you can take. Like I said, hate comparing it to Star Fox, but Star Fox is high up there in my list. So very similar there. An easy, medium, and hard playthrough. Each one has a different ending, which I thought was really neat. And in order to unlock some bonus features and some extra in-game content and some bonus levels and things like that, you have to beat all 3 of them. So that was cool. In one... Nadia basically only has enough fuel to jump through one set of enemies. So you either go take out this set of enemies or that set of enemies, or the last choice is to kind of do this like self-sacrifice thing. So but yeah, so the levels themselves are just waves of enemies that pop up, try to end your flight path. Just smaller drones or ships. But usually as the level progresses, there's more and more enemies that pop up. There's space fighters that come through and try to attack you. There's like Gundam-style robots and helicopters and things like that. Not actual Gundams, but like those kind of style, So.
Oh. I think one of the asleep and that woke me up.
Gundams, yeah. I think one of the Japanese voice actors actually was part of Gundam. Yeah, part of like Neon Genesis Evangelion and Gundam Sailor Moon. So that's pretty neat. Yeah, the game is like kind of very much like a cell shaded anime. It's really cool looking. So I think the only annoyance I had was that some enemies kind of like camp out just off screen, so they'll go past you and then take a couple of cheap shots at you, but before they fade away. So, and it would have been cool to see like a few more like different style enemies. I felt like they could have done more with that. But there's also a roguelite mode, which is just like a roguelite, roguelite,
where
you get
like the name of the game.
Like the name of the game. They got it. Whoa! But it's like you get one life. It's a randomized loadout. It's much tougher enemies, which is pretty cool too. It's like neat. But one quick note I want to throw in there too. You could play this game in first person or third person. But I tried first person, and you are doing the barrel roll to parry attacks coming at you, and it gets really nauseating really fast. So I recommend going third person 100%. So this game has an amazing soundtrack and art, as I was talking about earlier, to the 80s 90s kind of old VHS tape. There's honestly a lot of work that went into like overall aesthetic and feel of the game. Even even down to like the characters look cool, but even down to your main character, you can see in a little box in your like lower right hand corner, and she'll move her head like in the direction that you're like flying to, which I thought was just a nice little bonus. I think a couple more enemies would have been cool. A lot of so one thing that it's not something to really complain about, but I wish they would have included was the final level enemies don't explode. Like you kind of beat them and then they just fade off into the distance. So I was like, oh man, like it was a perfect opportunity for that like end level explosion, and then you blast through, and then you sail on to the next level.
Satisfying explosions.
Yeah, I need that satisfying explosion at the end.
Just never look back at it so you can be cool.
Yeah, exactly. True. I put the shades on and fly away. But honestly, it was a good game overall. And it's also Steam Deck compatible too. So that's pretty cool. That's a cool bonus.
Very nice. Well, the game clocks in at $20. What is your verdict on Rogue Flight?
I'd get it. I would definitely get it. I mean, honestly, it's a fun game. You have so much to unlock, like in it too, as far as like weapons and bonus content too. Once you kind of go through the 3 pathways. So yeah, I'd snag it. It's fun.
Cool. All right, next up, Kong Survivor Instinct, developed and published by 7 Levels, released October 22nd on Series X and S, PS5, and PC for $24.99. When giant monsters fight, no one's safe. Embark on a thrilling quest of survival in a city that's become a battleground for titans. Use the lethal strength of Kong and other monsters to your own advantage in this official MonsterVerse game set shortly after the events of Godzilla vs. Kong. Chris, tell us about Kong Survivor Instinct.
Okay, so a little bit of background if you didn't know about me is that I am I love monster films, big kaijus and stuff. That's the kind of quote unquote horror that I like, and that's because it's usually like PG-13 at worst. So it's
I gotta
not
show
like
you my kaiju collection too, by the way.
Nice. I've seen every Godzilla film. I've seen most of the King Kong films. Believe it or not, the only one I really haven't seen is the Peter Jackson one that was actually supposed to be really, really good. But yeah, so I'm a big fan. I'm not as big into Kong as Godzilla. I'm definitely Team Lizard. But yeah, I was very excited to play this game. Huh?
So you're correct.
Yeah, I'm correct. He's an atomic lizard that's like, potentially millions of years old and nigh invincible. And oh yeah, he's a nuclear lizard. But anyways, I always love the memes when it's like it'll show just like a regular gorilla and he's like, well, I'll do my best, but you do know he's like a 300-foot tall nuclear lizard, right? Anyways. So yeah, but Kong is like kind of cool, and he's a big monkey, so like we love him. He is the American kaiju after all, the inspiration for Godzilla. So we can't knock the king at all. But anyway, yeah. So
and we should.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm trying to level the field here for the review because there's no Godzilla in this game.
It's a Kong game. Let's focus on Kong here.
Yeah, there ain't no Godzilla in this game, so I can't really, I can't tilt the scales too much in this particular review. Got to be diplomatic here. There isn't that much Kong in here either. Anyways, so yeah, this is a official Legendary Pictures game that is tied into the very good television show that's Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, which is going into its second season pretty soon. Pretty hyped about that one. That's one I've actually gotten Catherine to really like as well, or she watched it and liked it too. She loves -1, but like in general, I'm the Godzilla fan, But so yeah, this is a tie-in a little bit. Like I said, it does kind of occur after King of the Monsters, before Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. Which I did see, and that's good that I saw it, because then I could recognize more stuff in this game. But yeah, so basically, the game is that you are playing as a guy, just a dad, who, his name's David Martin, I suppose. It's kind of hard to... he's not an easy guy to care about, but you kind of have to care about him, because his fate is in your hands, and your hands are what the controller's in. So, this is the lot we've cast for ourselves. So your task is that David Martin has driven towards the scene of a rampaging Kong destroying a city, somewhere on the West Coast. I didn't even catch what city it was. I'm not very good at reading stuff on the PS5, because the text is always so small. I even put it on large text. There is a large text option, and it only worked for the subtitles. So when I'm like trying to read the lore, I'm like having to scoot my chair closer. I'm just going to get a bigger TV or something, because obviously the PS5 is meant for like big old 70-inch TVs where you can actually see stuff. Yeah. I just got a modest TV that worked perfectly well with a PS4. Yeah. Anyways, so this is a side-scrolling, kind of a parkour action game. It's very Prince of Persia, actually. So your task is to side-scroll alongside disaster areas, buildings that are partially broken, traffic and debris and detritus and whatever else starts with D that you want to think of. Trying to get from one location to the next, while occasionally having to deal with kaiju literally trying to kill you, for reasons that are, I suppose, maybe made clear at some point. But we'll talk about the lore in a minute and how to get it. But basically, it's one of those things where it's like your moves are to like jump and cling on to ledges and pull yourself up by your hands, which, by the way, an average person cannot do. One thing about this game is that, so this is actually a little bit of the thrill of like the Legendary Pictures stuff and like the Monarch TV show and like all these things is that they're, with a few exceptions, we're dealing with people who are, it's kind of they try to be like a little bit more realistic about people's roles when it comes to gigantic monsters, in that we are just like little insects just kind of skittering around. There's just no way to like compete. So it's like these shows and movies do promote a sense of realism, and so when you look at the game, it's like it doesn't look like hyper realistic or anything, but the backgrounds look amazing, and your character moves pretty pretty realistically as well. But then you just start doing all this parkour stuff and like just pulling yourself over ledges and like jumping up and like doing all this acrobatic stuff, and you're just like this middle-aged dad, and it takes me right out of it. I'm just like, who is this guy? It's this dude who has never missed a day at the gym. But anyways, that's it's a video game. This is just talking about video games at this point. But so yeah, you run and jump, and occasionally things are going to break apart. So you're running along, and the floor is going to break out from under you, but that's going to conveniently lead you to the next thing that you need to pick up, like a key on the ground, and that will open a door, and then you can go through that door and then pick up another item that you need. You also conveniently pick up a a little like what's that thing in Fallout that like that's basically your menu? It's like a little Game Boy that you attach to your wrist.
Pip Boy?
Yeah. You basically get one of those from the enemy, and it serves as your options menu in your hub, and it also stores all the information that you scan throughout the game. So there's little warbly, like they look like little like when you jump through a portal or when you jump through a painting in Mario 64, like that warbly thing. It's like those, but just in the air. And if you absorb them with the little Pip-Boy, then you get more lore, and you collect them throughout the stages, and that actually gives you the story of the game. So you're not bogged down with a bunch of cutscenes, or given the cutscenes that you want, which is kind of what you're here for, is like that good, because the Monarch TV show is mostly lore and like dialogue and like basically cutscenes between like a very small amount of monster appearances, but it's basically relegated to the menu, and like I said, that small ass text, so I didn't get to read a lot of it or absorb it because like I said, I was just kind of like focused on the action because at least I could see that. Which, by the way, it's gonna be very funny in like a couple of months when I go to the optometrist and just find out I'm blind or something, because I've been complaining about video game text, I feel like, for like a year and a half now. Anyways, yeah.
Have you played the game I Am Alive? It was damn. Never mind then.
Sorry, I've heard of it, but
yeah, I was just wondering how similar this game was to I Am Alive, because this game reminded me a lot of I Am Alive, and obviously if you haven't played it, that isn't possible to be answered.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at it, I mean, it does have that kind of bleakness because everything's broken, and actually that does lead me to my next thing, which is like talking about what's going on in the background, which is like the most interesting part of the game. So yeah, basically as you're running, jumping, parkouring across like these things, which by the way, since it's a 2D game, and they've, made all these like lovingly detailed backgrounds, it's very funny when your character walks up to a car and you have to jump over the car, and like walk over the car when you can clearly see there's space to the left of the car that a real person could just walk around. But because it's on your belt of movement, of left to right movement, you have to jump over that car. Again, it's very funny stuff that like takes you out of the drama of it all. And like I said, the drama of it all is that while you're doing all this stuff, two things will happen that are the main cause for getting murdered. Although you can definitely lose your life through not quite jumping over a small fire, or having part of a roof, like part of roofing material, like drywall, essentially just fall on your head. That can do the damage that like tips you over into death. At which point you just start over from a checkpoint, because of course the game has checkpoints, and it has fast travel, so you can actually travel back across checkpoints to open stuff that you couldn't open before and things like that, which is again cool in a video game. Weird in a game where you're trying to just survive and find your daughter while monsters are rampaging in the background. But the two causes for death in this game are, one, the giant monsters in the background, of which there are more than Kong. There are 3 main kaijus in this game. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but I will tell you that they are not Godzilla. I just want to get that out of the way. There's no surprise. Not unless it's in the ending, because I haven't seen the ending yet. But yeah, there's no surprise. Here's the real star of the show. But there's Kong. There is a creature that is named but never seen fully in 2019's Godzilla King of the Monsters, which has a big collection of kaiju in it that are unique to the Legendary Pictures Monsterverse. And then the third is a monster that does appear in one of the films, rather prominently, although briefly, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But this monster is more in this game. And it's a cool monster too. The monsters look amazing. Kong looks great. He looks just like he should. As far as like a video game monster goes, if he gets too close to the camera, you do start to see like, you know, a little bit of PlayStation 2-ness in the fur texture. But like, you know, where he's staged for the most part, Kong looks incredible. And there are segments of the game, you could call them boss fights if you want, because they're usually at a high dramatic point in the stages, but you'll basically have to escape a building that the monster is actively destroying, trying to get you specifically. And so it's like hiding around windows, you know, checking its movement and like, going to where its movements aren't. That is to say, avoiding like a Fist of Fury or something like that. And you know, it's kind of cool because it's very trial and error. If you get murdered, of course, one hit's going to kill you because you're a tiny human man. Even though you're like a Charles Atlas School of Weightlifting graduate, you are still just a person. And but you know, as soon as you get killed, you just get to start that fight over, and then you know just do it until you win. And those are pretty satisfying. I like those a lot. You get a few of them, and like I said, with different monsters, so you get to learn different things. You also get to like dodge the carnage as monsters are fighting each other. So that's kind of cool too. Like I said, the best stuff in the game is happening in the background, and you're just kind of there to avoid it. And then, like I said, the other thing is that randomly, some people from the rival, I don't know, terrorist group or something. It's this group that has its own lore, of course, that I didn't read, but basically thugs will just appear, and then you have to fight them off with a pipe that you pick up in the first level, or a gun that you pick up in the second level, but is very limited on ammo. And in fact, you need that gun for puzzle solving, which I love that sentence. But yeah, so you need to conserve some of your bullets because, like I said, you know, you have to shoot chains off of doors because that's the classic movie move, and there's nothing else that you could do to remove a lock from a door. So yeah, you basically have to kind of do the survivalist, like, you know, fighting and stuff. But those I found to be the least entertaining part of the game because the guys, for one thing, these humans can take an awful lot of hits to the head with a pipe before they go down, whereas your character is a little more realistically untanky. So I'm hitting somebody in his like solid steel toboggan, and it's just like taking like 8 or 9 hits for him to go down. Meanwhile, his friend's right behind him with a gun, and like I have to deal with that too. And you know, you have med packs that you can pick up through the levels and use, but they're limited, and you have to conserve those too. But yeah, the other thing is that the enemy AI is really dumb. You just stand there with the block button on, and like they'll just kind of sit there your character models will just be kind of touching. You'll be like right up to them, like blocking, and then they'll try and hit you, and then that's when you parry, and then like try to bust their head in. And it's like they'll just sit there forever, just like not doing anything, and then finally they'll be like, "Aha, I got you!" They'll attack you while you're blocking, and then you can finally just pound them. Those fights are usually a little bit avoidable. Sometimes though, like there will be a room that has like a particular thing that you really want, and then you know that you have to deal with the thugs. And the other thing is about the game is that the thugs and exactly like random types of environmental hazards will respawn if you get killed and have to redo parts, right? So, like, you know, if you bust down a wall, that wall will stay down. It'll stay busted down until you're done with that level. But if, like, the roof falls in on you, then the roof's going to fall in on you again, and you have to, like, watch for that. So that's kind of annoying, too, because you kind of can't predict exactly, unless you do it a lot of times, like, what's going to come back up if you have to replay a segment of the game. And since you do have to backtrack in this game, that's something that actually is a concern, because again, this is a survival game, so you have to like keep on top of your life and your ammo and things like that. So you don't want to run into the same thugs if you're not going to get something out of it and things like that. So I was like a little bit more tweaking in that area would have been nice. Ultimately, though, it's a pretty cool game. Like I said, doesn't feature the kaiju as much as I would have liked, but again, I could say the same thing about the Monarch TV show, right? It's about the humans, not the monsters. But I do wish the humans were a little more interesting in this one, if we're going to go that way, right? So it's like, it's a good game. I certainly am appreciative that it's out there and that we get a little bit more lore into like some of the monsters and some of the people that are in the Monarch thing. It's just one of those things where it falls short of feeling premium. But considering that we got Skull Island Rise of Kong last year, this is like leagues better. So, this is not it's cheaper. Yeah, it's not a throwaway trash game that just uses Kong's name in vain.
No, it's $25. We need a verdict.
Yeah, $25. It's a bite. If you listen to all this and you didn't look for the skip button, then I'd say that. If you're a fan of the show and you really like these kind of Nathan Drake-ish kind of escapades, again, you're not going to play as a monster. You're not going to get into some situation where you're doing something really badass. I don't know, I could think of a few things. Then this is fine. And like I said, it's very lovely to look at. It's fun to watch. And like I said, the lore is good. But yeah, it's going to fall short of feeling like something that's a must-have. But I liked it enough. I mean, it's also about a 5 or 6 hour game. So you know this going in that $25 can get you a much longer game. And plus, how much is Gigabash? That's the top kaiju game to get if you're into kaiju. If you don't have Monster Bash at this point, that's going to be your first purchase. But this is a good game, and I liked it. So I'm going to go ahead and just give it a buy it.
Cool. Sounds good. Gigabash clock
$24.99.
Oh, thanks.
Got you, bro.
But you need the Godzilla DLC too, so make sure you get that too.
But that's extra.
$10 extra.
Yeah.
Oh, well, wait, hold on. Godzilla Nemesis DLC or Godzilla 4 Kaiju Pack?
I just got the Godzilla 4 Kaiju Pack, and I don't remember if I got the Nemesis yet, but that's a good reminder. I'm going to.
There's also a Rojak and Balzar DLC and an Ultraman 4-pack.
Yeah, those are franchises I'm less familiar with, so I will pick those up, but those aren't top of the list for me.
Gotcha. All right, moving on. Next game is NEVA, developed by Nomada Studio, published by Devolver Digital, released October 15th on Series X and S, Switch, PS5, PC for $19.99. Experience the moving tale of a young woman and her lifelong bond with a magnificent wolf as they embark on a thrilling adventure through a rapidly dying world. Aki, tell us about your time with NEVA.
All right. In this, you play as a young woman, and you're on this planet that seems to be infected by some sort of evil gunk that is killing animals and taking them over and turning them into monstrosities. And you're helped with this little wolf named NEVA. Ooh. And this game it's pretty short. It's like a 4 to 6 hour game. It's set during different seasons. So the first level is, summer, the first couple levels, because almost all of them are a part 1 and a part 2 for each one. So the first level is summer, then it's fall, winter, and then it ends on spring. And as you go through this, it's a lot of platforming and a little bit of combat. The combat is this black ooze monsters are trying to kill you, and you can stab them many, many times with your sword because you're awesome. And later on, you unlock new abilities as NEVA grows, because every season, not only does the season change and the environment change, your little doggo becomes a not so little doggo no more. It gets to the point where it is taller than you. Also, this isn't a standard wolf. This is a wolf that has gigantic horns, like antlers, coming off of it. It's super cute, and you do get to pet it. You get to pet it many, many, many times, and you get to ride it later on, so that's awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah. This is a game about fixing the environment, it appears, as well as the pain of loss. And yeah, There isn't a whole bunch I can sadly say because it is such a short game. But lots of it is platforming. You get more abilities with each season because a lot of the abilities are tethered to the wolf. And so, in one of the later seasons, you get to ride the wolf because it is larger than you are. And so it gets to run around, and it's super fast, and it's nice. And yeah, there are some boss fights, for the lack of a better word. They're just large monstrosities. They're not particularly difficult. Hold on. False alarm. I hate when I have to sneeze and then nothing comes out.
Oh, that's the worst.
Oh, it burns so bad.
Yeah, my allergies have been bad lately, so that's been my experience.
Yeah, so you fight large monstrosities, and you get to slash them, and you can dodge around them and stuff. And they're not particularly difficult. There's 2 difficulties you can choose. There's normal and I think cinematic, I think was the other difficulty. And basically, one gives you life, the other one you're forever. So in one of them, you have like 3 hits you can take or something like that. And if you damage enemies, you get little points around this little circular thing. And once it fills up, you can take 1 more hit. And obviously, if you hit any of the checkpoints, you also get filled back up. But in the other mode, you don't have health. You're okay. You can still die, but it requires you to like fall off the map or something. And then it just immediately respawns you almost exactly where you died. So it's really nice with that. You aren't going to lose any serious progress if you die in either mode. So that's awesome. There is no achievement related to difficulty, so pick the easier one so that good. Combat's a little easier for you. And yeah, it's a very beautiful game. It made me cry, and I love it.
No, it's $20. Give us a verdict.
100% go get this. This is a fantastic game.
Any other thoughts you have on it?
I really would like that wolf to be real because I want one of those.
I wonder if they sell a plush.
I'm going to go look now.
Next game. This one should be fun. Tales from the Arcade. Fartmania, developed and published by MyNext Games, released October 17th on Switch and PC for $4.99. There is no one else, just you, a bad case of IBS, and a family of fellow swine to save. Bounce, fart, jump, and explore your way up into the very stratosphere to rescue your friends from the clutches of their alien kidnappers. Andy, what the hell is Fartmania?
Hey, well, actually, when you first threw it at me, I thought it was kind of a joke, but I played it, I reviewed it, so here we go. I don't really have a ton to talk about this game too, so it
seems like a pretty basic pick up and play kind of thing.
Yeah, I beat it. Well, I beat it, but I beat it 3 times in under an hour.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah, so basically you're a pig. You have a bad case of IBS. So the game is I wrote a few notes for this. Normally I write a thing out, but I was just I don't even know what to say. So, it's a 2D precision platformer. It's literally all about farts. So if you think farts are funny, I think farts are hilarious. So I liked it. But your piggy family, your pig family and friends, basically get taken by aliens, and they fly up to a certain point in the atmosphere, and you are the I guess only pig that can propel yourself upward with farts, and you literally just do that. The whole game is you farting and getting higher, avoiding spiked obstacles along the way, and
it looks kind of like a vertical Flappy Bird.
I mean, it basically is. You can like, there's little platforms you can stop on. There's members of your pig family. I think there's 30 in total that you have to find going upward. There's a few that are kind of hidden in the levels themselves, you know. Lots of little tricky areas to kind of avoid the spikes and not get hit. If you get hit, you kind of bounce around and fall down to the last platform or so that you were around. Sometimes you get a little lucky, but once you get to a certain spot in the atmosphere, you'll come upon this like alien spacecraft, and the craft has these little air vents on either side. And so, of course, like, you already know where I'm going with this. You're gonna like fart into the air vents, and then the aliens like freak out, and they're like, "What is that smell?" You know, "Oh God," you know. And you do that a couple of times, and then they're like, "Oh, you know, we gotta go higher. You know, maybe he won't catch up to us. You know, if we're higher up in the sky." And then you just go higher, and you fart some more. You collect some more pigs along the way. There is like beans too, and beans will help you get to a few kind of enclosures. There's one
super
I guess
fart.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a super fart. You get one enclosure that you have to go in, and you got to find the right bean, like, you know, can of beans to get in there. But most of the time you use them just to pass through large areas. So characters, you'll encounter, say, funny things, like they'll be like mostly just commenting on like how much you smell, you know, or something, or they'll talk to you, and then you'll kind of bounce around, and they'll be like, oh, I liked talking to you until just a second ago, you know. I mean, I don't know really what to say about it other than that. There is 3 main alien battles, you know, and then by the end of it, not to like spoiler alert or anything like that, but you save the village, and then you go back through, and you can play it again. So I played it the first time through. I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I was just like kind of collecting pigs and trying to reach the top. Probably took me 10 minutes to get all the way up to the top, you know, the final alien battle. And then it's like, hey, do you want to go again? And like, you missed some pigs, you know, so it's kind of got that like arcade factor to it as well. The only thing
it doesn't seem like a super complex game. I guess it's just one. Is it worth $5?
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth $5. So there was one thing that kind of threw me off a little bit too. So two last things about it. The first thing was that there's kind of a weird sound glitch, and I don't know if it was like, I don't know if I have the full game, don't I?
Yeah.
Like, you got me. Okay, so I don't know.
I imagine so. Yeah.
I mean, I imagine so. I didn't know if it was like my game or if other people are encountering in this too. But it was the soundtrack would play, and then at a certain part, it would almost sound like it was like you know, in like Super Nintendo games, or I guess any game where there's like too much happening on the screen, and it kind of does that like glitchy like freeze through almost.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, but it was almost part of the soundtrack. It was really weird, you know, like nothing would freeze up or anything. It was just the soundtrack would like tweak. So
weird.
That was interesting. The other thing too is the developers are having a high score contest. So if you do get this and you want to try to get the high score, you have to have the high score like through Next Fest, the Steam Next Fest, and then, which might be over now or over soon.
I have no clue. I don't follow.
It ended yesterday.
Okay, so it ended yesterday, but they were having a high score contest to basically turn whoever was at the top of the leaderboard into a pig themselves and put them in the game. So that was kind of interesting. And I discovered some area once you beat the game and find all the pigs that you can kind of check out the developers' other games. And I think there's a few, like maybe Kickstarter backers or so who are also pigs in the game. I don't know. Very interesting.
Pretty cool.
$5 though. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't think I would pay $5 for this game. I'd probably pay.
It's on sale for the next week for $4. Does that
I don't
Change
know.
your mind at all?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's only. I mean, it's kind of a fuck it, why not, kind of thing. I literally have 0.8 hours of playtime on this, and I've beaten it 3 times. So yeah, I'll let everybody else kind of be the judge. I thought the farts were funny, and the gameplay wasn't anything, like super groundbreaking or anything like that, but it was kind of fun. I'd probably pay like $1 or $2, for something like this, but
wish list it, wait for a sale.
$3-4, why not? I mean, it's silly. So
cool. All right, next up, Hidden Cats in Spooky Town, developed by Nukearts Studio, published by Silesia Games, released October 24th, Xbox One, Series X and S for $3.99. Spooky Halloween season is upon us, so our ever-traveling cat troupe decided to make an appearance in a particularly spooky town. Come a bit closer and don't be scared of monsters. The ones found in Spooky Town are quite friendly, and besides, you'd be here looking for cats, not monsters, mostly. Find cats, color in the scenery, and don't get spooked. Bri, what is going on in Hidden Cats in Spooky Town?
Well, this game hits on 2 of my favorite things, spooky and cats, so it's already a win for me.
I kind of saw that one coming.
Yeah, who didn't? But yeah, it's Halloween in Spooky Town. It's delightfully full of cats. When you zoom in, you can hear the chatter and screams of trick-or-treaters, of cackling witches, and other members of Spooky Town. There's a lovely spooky song for the occasion. You have a main scene with 120 cats in fixed position on normal, and then you can do it again on advanced, and there's 200 randomized cats. You've got special cats, you've got city people to find. In the scene, you'll find hearses, spiders, ghosts, goblins, and cats hanging all around. There's just so many spooky things to find, like movie and TV characters. It's a really fun scene. It's appropriately themed for the season. There's 12 special cats to find in advance, some of them pictures of real cats submitted by players from the community, people like Joe.
Oh?
Yeah.
Could that be a hint to a future game installment?
To a future game. All right, but yeah, once you find all the cats in the area and the scene, it'll color in that section, which helps you narrow down where you need to look. You can also use the meows for some help, knowing when there's a cat nearby. It also meows when you collect a kitty, so tons of meows. And when you finish the scene, you get fireworks. And then once you've unlocked the special cats in advanced mode, you can gain access to 6 bonus levels, like the Mad Doctor's Lab, a vampire lair, a witch's cabin, early bonus, or each bonus level. Yeah, there we go. I can read my own notes. Is a smaller scene than the main level. They contain 50 to 100 kittens per level. So you're finding kittens instead of cats. I think I made that distinction last time. And then in the bonus level, sometimes you have cats hidden behind things that will wiggle to get your attention. So it's a little bit more challenging than the main scene in some ways. And always to me, just like it's really cute where they have cats hidden and really clever. Once you completed all the bonus levels, there's still one more to do because they have a huge spooky after party bonus level with 100 cats and 100 people to find. You find those people 4 at a time, as indicated by the pictures in the top right.
Oh no!
So it is time consuming.
Again.
Yeah, it's another one of those. It's time consuming. I'm not bothered by that. It's just one of those things you go in knowing you need to do, and it's you have a little zen moment with it, and you find all the cool costumed characters and the goofy people doing goofy things. I thought it was pretty fun because especially in this one, you have some very distinctive people that you're trying to find in different costumes and things like that. So I thought it was pretty easy this time around. But yeah, all told, there's like 1,000 objects to find. The art is cute. Of course, there's some good accessibility features like colorblind mode, dark mode to help your eyes, and has a really good zoom. This might be my favorite one in the series. So, just saying.
Just saying. Do I need to even ask?
I mean, officially, I suppose you do.
Yeah, I guess so. $4, verdict.
I mean, seriously, buy it.
What? I'm so shocked by that verdict.
Never would guess that.
All right, we got one final game to talk about tonight. That is called Amanda the Adventure, developed by MANGLEDmaw Games, published by DreadXP, released October 10th on Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, and PS5 for $8.99. Having inherited their Aunt Kate's house, Riley Park starts exploring with the reclusive woman left behind. In the attic, Riley is surprised to find a stack of VHS tapes next to an old TV set. Tapes seem to be episodes of an early 2000 era children's cartoon they have never seen before. Intrigued, Riley pops the first tape into the VCR. Kids' VHS tapes are like big plastic cartridges filled with magnetic tape that you put into a VCR, which is a machine that old people use to play movies on.
What?
Really old people.
Tell us about Amanda the Adventure.
How many kids are listening to this show? I just want to know.
I don't know. None.
Too many.
Right. So yeah, you play as Riley, and your aunt left you this note upon her passing that details her leaving you this house she had in Kinsdale. And in the note, she also mentions that in the attic she has this tape she wants you to view, but she warns you that once you start watching it, there's no turning back. And she also tells you to stay safe. So you start with the game in this attic, a dark, stormy night. Bunch of stuff stored in here, just like random assortment of items. There's cabinets, chests, and various other items that need passcodes to be opened. There's a couple clocks that have times that can be set on them. Random like plastic fruit pieces, kind of a toy oven. Then you see at the back of the far back of the room, there's a CRT TV set up and a combo VHS player with like this blue glow that like beckons you as soon as you like start the game. And right in the middle of the attic is this large table that's got this light kind of not quite placed over it, but it's like the centerpiece almost to the room. So you spawn into the map, and this game has pretty basic controls. All you can really do is move around the map, interact with a few objects, and in the center of the screen you have this like pointer, giant pointer that's got like these cartoon eyes, almost like Clippy in a way. If anyone knows Clippy, you're probably old if you.
Oh yeah, good old Clippy.
If you know what a VCR is, you know who Clippy is.
Oh my god.
That's fair.
Yeah. So yeah, this pointer, and then once you hover over objects that you can interact with, it changes to kind of this like pointer finger instead. And yeah, that's pretty much all you can do is interact with stuff. You can pick up a few objects in the environment. You find some like plastic fruit right out of the gates, and also these clay pots that have these weird symbols printed on them, which seemingly really random. So yeah, you make your way to the back. In front of the TV, you got this creepy doll that's sitting there watching the TV. It's in this red and white polka dot dress with black buttons for eyes, and its mouth is sewn up with black thread. Looks a little ominous. Pretty much the only thing in the room, too, that looks like kind of creepy, considering this is a horror-themed game. And then once we make your way to the back, you see the VHS player, and beside it is this cassette tape labeled Amanda the Adventure. And this episode on the tape is titled In the Kitchen. So, setting that aside for a moment, you look at this giant cork board that's sitting in the corner beside a desk, and it has some notes on it that you can read to gain a little bit more backstory about what was happening in the world around the game. But the main thing to focus on is this one other note that your aunt has left for you, and it's kind of this letter she received from this girl who had a younger brother named Jordan who mysteriously disappeared about 2 years ago. And in the letter, she talks about this kids show that Jordan used to watch with this little girl on it that always seemed really odd to her. And Jordan would sit in front of the TV for hours at a time and just like be entranced by what she had to say. And then, yeah, one day Jordan just up and disappears. And Joanne believes that it has something to do with this mysterious TV show that she referred to as being evil. And yeah, she was talking with your aunt about this, and apparently your aunt used to work with kids through the library. I don't know if exactly what she did, whether it's just in children's literature or like programs through the library they had, but something to do with that. And your aunt also set out to kind of solve this mystery, but kind of left it to the wayside, and now you're taking over, I guess, and that's why she left you this VHS tape. So you plug in the first tape in the kitchen, and what comes on the TV is, they said 2000 in the description, but I would almost call it something like from the 90s. It's like really blocky, kind of like cheap animation, very colorful. And inside the kitchen, you see everything's kind of like a static image, except for these two main characters that come up on the screen. Also, this oven and stove that have like little animated eyes and kind of like move from side to side. But as soon as you start the tape, you get the two characters introduce themselves, Amanda and the sheep named Wooly. And they're inside this cartoon kitchen, really colorful atmosphere. They have an upbeat attitude. And Amanda says, today you're going to be making a pie. And then she starts up asking what your favorite pie is. So all of a sudden the game pauses, and you get these four options that kind of come up on the screen. And you can choose between pecan, pot, plum, or woolly pie, which is the name of the sheep character. So I chose woolly pie to start, and as soon as you say that, the sheep looks like shocked. And Amanda says, that sounds delicious. And but no, today you're going to be making some apple pie. And she asks you, well, what do you cut the apples with? And then again, there's a set of four options. So this time I picked knife. And then Wooly says, we shouldn't really be using that. But Amanda says, it's good to be brave when you're by yourself.
Oh, God.
And you'll notice a theme throughout this game where Wooly is kind of like the voice of reason. And Amanda will seemingly say these shocking things that you shouldn't really hear from a kid's show. But yeah, so you start making this pie, and every now and then there'll be like these static cuts in the tape, so it'll move transition from one scene to the next. And one other thing I should note too is I got stuck on a puzzle, which I'll mention a little bit later in the review here. Later on in the game, so I had to look up some footage, and it looked like the Steam version of this game, you had options to like manually input your responses. And in the console versions here, you're given like a selection of options to choose from. So I would say the Steam version for this game is probably slightly more challenging, even though most of the answers that you're going to be choosing are something you probably would have figured out pretty quick. But there were a few optional kind of puzzles that might be a little more difficult to figure out, having to type those in for yourself and not given the options in front of you. But anyways, so yeah, the console version a lot easier. You get these options to pick from, only the four each time. Sometimes the options do change if you're going back through the tapes or on a next playthrough kind of thing. But there's always like kind of a specific response they're looking for, and it's usually there right at the beginning. But so yeah, you get to baking this pie. Amanda tells you to preheat the oven to 425 degrees, but Wooly says you shouldn't be doing that without your parents. But Amanda says she doesn't know where they are right now, so, you got to do it yourself. So you put the apples in the tin, heat for 40 minutes, and after the video is over, you turn around, and all of a sudden that table that was at the center of the room that was empty now has the toy oven on it and all these plastic fruit pieces. And it's like, you got to go back to it, and you see the timer can be set, and the oven dial can be changed, so use the information you kind of just got from the tape, and put the tin in the oven with the apple, preheat it to the 425 for 40 minutes, and let it sit, and then it opens up and you have another cassette tape that you can view. And for anyone that's familiar with like escape room style games, that's kind of like the core gameplay style for this one. So you pretty much just go back and forth between viewing all these tapes. Then there'll kind of be like a corresponding puzzle that goes along with the viewing of the tape. That being said, there are a number of the puzzles that are, I don't want to spoil too much about how to go about solving them, but you essentially need to be really paying attention when you're viewing the tapes, because there'll be certain things in the environment that you should look out for that will help you solve future puzzles in the game, and they're necessary for progression for most of them. And there are a few that are kind of semi-optional, and once in a while you'll get like a colored VHS tape for finding like kind of alternate solutions and stuff that will give you additional lore aspects to the game, and that's pretty much where all the story in this will come into play, is you'll get these colored VHS tapes you can plug in and play, and they're all live action footage of real life people. And one of the main people you'll see through that is this guy named Sam, who's the person who created the show with his adopted daughter Amanda, and they'll talk a little bit about how it used to be like a live action show before it was transitioned to this animated cartoon, which is what you're viewing on the tapes. But yeah, this game isn't too long though, so I won't go too much into that lore either. It is kind of satisfying to learn about it for yourself, as you have to solve puzzles to find most of these VHS tapes. And if you want to view the true ending to the game, you will need to collect all I think it was 5 or 6 VHS tapes. I forget how many there were. But yeah, so I won't go too far into this next tape, but this will give you a good idea of like how the horror context comes into play here. Yeah. So the next, sorry,
I was just saying, yeah.
So the next tape you plug in is called "In the Neighborhood," and Amanda wants to go and buy a treat for her friends. So you stop at this store that has all these treats available, and again, you're given some options to choose from. But if you pick the wrong item when Amanda wants you to search for this treat, she'll say it's slightly annoyed, and then like her face will have this like disappointed look, and she's like, "No, that's not what I want." And then if you choose another wrong item, then she starts freaking out. She says, "I want the cookies," and the voice has this menacing undertone, and like there'll be more static cuts on the VHS tape and the footage every time she gets mad. And you'll see these other alterations to the tape too. It'll be like color distortions and like different other effects. And yeah, the more times you choose wrong options, it'll kind of like filter you into the right one. So by the time she gets fed up with it, you lose all the two old options you had except for the cookies. So you have to pick the cookies now, and that'll kind of happen the same way with other optional questions she gives you throughout the game. And there's a bunch of different locations you go to, and as you progress, like the situations surrounding them kind of become more deranged. They're all at locations you'd expect like kids to visit, but the circumstances behind those visits become a little more violent in nature. There's not many instances in this game where I would say it's particularly scary, but this game is definitely meant to make you feel like unsettled with what you're viewing, given that this is a kids' TV show, and that some of the things she's saying, even though we'll upbeat and positive, aren't stuff that you want kids to be listening to. So as a parent, you should be looking at it and be like, what the fuck is this? Like this. And I don't know how parents in the real world that this game is set and didn't pick up on any of this. But anyways, so yeah, there are some responses too you get that yield like slightly unique dialogue.
Unique.
Yeah, unique. That should be the only time I say this here. Yeah, it is unique dialogue. So if you want, I'd recommend like going through the tapes and like seeing all the options, especially if they seem like something that's a little bit off when you're presented with them. I feel like those ones give some of the better kind of responses from her. What else? Yeah, so there are the options to like review the tapes if you like didn't see kind of puzzle pieces you needed the first time around. And once you get to kind of like your first ending, quote unquote, for the game, you gain the option to fast forward through the tapes, all the ones you've seen at least. So that makes it a lot faster if you need to repeat sections to get back to a certain point. Otherwise, it'd be a bit of a slog having to rewatch like every single tape again. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the main part of the game. I did run into a few glitches. There was one instance where I like take a tape out of the VCR player, and once you eject it, it like makes the pointer finger you had throughout the entire game gets removed, and you can't interact with anything. And I'd have to like close down the game and relaunch it to reload the last save. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Fortunately, the game, exits really quick and reloads quick. But yeah, I've had that happen like I think it was like 5 or 6 times, so it wasn't like a one-of. It was a pretty consistent thing. It almost always happened too when I was exiting from the VCR. So yeah, watch out for that.
Hopefully they're aware of it and they could fix that one.
Yeah, that seems like it'd be something that's easy to fix. And luckily it didn't hinder progression really that much, so not too bad. I think that was the only glitch I ran into. There was one thing that I find this kind of annoying in puzzle games. Puzzles that require you to have outside knowledge from the game to solve them. And in this case, with like a minor spoiler, there's a music-based puzzle where you essentially need to know how to read sheet music to be able to solve it. And I don't know how to read sheet music, so that was the puzzle that I had to look up a solution for.
I couldn't do that. I'm a guitarist.
So some people might find that annoying as well, like I do. Fortunately, there is a bunch of walkthroughs online for this, so if you do get stuck there, this is a puzzle you need to solve to kind of like get the true ending for the game. So, be warned about that if it's something you hate to deal with. But fortunately, it's easy to find the answer online.
All right. Well, this game clocks in at $8.99. What are your thoughts on Amanda the Adventurer?
I think it's a solid buy it recommendation. The game is really short. I would say you're looking at like a 2-3 hour runtime, depending on how long you get stuck on some of the puzzles. But once you figure out how to solve some of the second tier kind of difficulty puzzles, I would say most of the stuff in the game is pretty solvable, other than that one music puzzle I kind of mentioned. There are a few of the puzzles that are a little tricky to get the special tapes for. So if you want to see the true ending, you have to devote a little more time to finish the game. But not super long. I thought the puzzles were, for the most part, basic, other than some of the abstract ones I was just kind of mentioning. I think fans of the horror genre are probably going to love this one. I thought the game did a great job of creating a tension-filled atmosphere based around this kid's cartoon. I do think the story was a little underdeveloped, but that being said, there is a sequel for this game that I think just launched today on Steam, actually. So
that
they might have been looking
future to Xbox.
Yeah, hopefully it does. So I should mention too that earlier the glitch I ran into, I was playing on PlayStation. I don't know if that's a thing on Xbox or not, but hopefully they expand upon the story a little bit more in the background, based around the kids show and how this evil stuff started happening, because they only kind of hint at it based on what I uncovered in the game for the first one here. So I would say it's a solid recommendation. I'd pick it up.
Cool. Sounds good. With that, we're done. We made it through. Thank you everyone for hanging out and being here the whole time. Music this episode, our good friends at Viking Guitar Live just put out a new song called No One Lives Forever. It is an Oingo Boingo cover. So we're gonna tempt fate with the YouTube banhammer and see how it goes. But it's a cover, so it should fly, right?
Should be good.
Totally, yeah. Well, fuck it.
We'll find out.
We're not monetized anyway, so YOLO, right?
Yeah.
YOLO.
Sorry, Germany, you're not going to be able to watch this one, I guess. I don't know. Does anyone have any final words to end the show?
Good to be brave.
Joe, out of all these games, which one sounded great to you? Which is your favorite?
Tonight?
Yeah.
I think I'm most excited to try NEVA or Hidden Cats in Spooky Town, obviously, but, that's a given.
Nice.
I thought you'd be into that Cats one.
Yeah.
That one seems cool.
I thought Rogue Flight sounded really cool.
It did.
It is.
We had some good games tonight.
Yeah.
It's spooky.
And spooky, yeah.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Wait, that's
This is next week.
Yeah. Next I'm trying to remember what day.
Thursday,
that's right.
Yeah, final words, let's end this.
Oh, I thought we had done so.
Nope, we're still going.
Fun stuff.
Just end it quick before we screw something up.
No.
Someone's coming.
I'm just going to keep going until, we get something definitive.
Happy birthday to me. Good night.
yourself sad. You can't change fate, but don't feel so bad. Enjoy it while you can. It's just like the weather. So quit complaining, brother. No one lives forever. Let's have a party. There's a full moon in the sky. It's the hour of the wolf, and I don't wanna die. I'm so happy dancing while the Grim Reaper cuts, but he can't get me. I'm as clever as can be. I'm very quick, but don't forget we've only got so many tricks. No one lives forever. calling Dougie. 10 short years, he's getting old and groggy. I don't think it's very fair, cold chop blow. It's all relative, my friend.